the transom. 2 layers of plywood and a layer of filler. Wonder if I forgot to put the clamp on. And wonder I put it on, but I didn't tighten it. Studying the transom. It consisted of a very thin layer of fiberglass, probably 3/16 or so, and then a real thick layer of filler, some sort of polyester filler. It's hard as a rock, but it's kind of brittle. The original plywood did not go to the corners and it did not go to the top. It did go to the bottom. I'm thinking, since I'm going to hang outboards, I need it to go to the corner all the way, and it would be nice if it went to the top, but I don't know if I can do that or not. I can at least get it higher than this brace and then brace back. When we first started removing the plywood from the transom, it was like yay, because it was just falling off in big pieces, and this I don't know, this bedding compound or whatever it is was coming off in big chunks, and everything was lovely. But now all the easy stuff is done, and the rest of this stuff is very difficult to get on. So we've got to cut all these flanges back, got the flanges in the corners, sand this lip up here. Lots of ugly stuff to do. I've got a little fan here to kind of give me some air. Got the vacuum cleaner. I'm going to keep it on to try to catch some of this dust. I got my bunny rabbit suit. I got a cushion to kneel on. I got a bucket to sit on. I've got my ear muffs. I've got a dust mask. I've got my grinder with the cut blade and no guard. I've got my pencil grinder for getting in the corners. And I got my disc sander with the 24 grit. And there's nothing else to do but get after it. So I'm going to start and try to get in a good whole hour of this stuff. Hour and a half of steady grinding. I've managed to clean up that corner. You can't tell now because it's all dusty. And I managed to clean up this top edge. And I've cleaned that bottom lip about a third of the way across. And I removed the lump where the rudder stand used to be. And it's time for a shower. Today was a marathon grinding day, and I did pretty good. I've got, let's see, I've got the bottom cleaned out where the plywood kind of recessed into all the laminate, so, and I filled it with some thickened resin. And tomorrow I'll put a cove of resin so that when I do the glass, I'm going to do glass on top of this because it's so thin. I'll have a nice curve at the bottom. There are some spots back there that I never could get the filler off. This stuff is just hard as a rock. So I'm just building out to match that filler with thickened rosin. I give up. This side I got it all off. And we'll start patching the glass back soon. So in the transom, I have to plug the 4 exhaust holes and 2 holes where they had the blower discharge. So I'm cutting them out of this. This is the old ceiling of the boat, and I'm going to glue them into place. And this is basically to keep the chop mat and woven roving in place that I'm going to put on the interior. And after that sets up, then I'll grind most of this off and I'll have a backing to glass in the exterior. This is like a temporary dam. Put this plug in the rudder holes, well, two plugs, two rudder holes yesterday. It's about a 3/8 inch thick piece of fiberglass. The hole is pretty thick back here. It's probably 5/8 of an inch thick. And this morning I sanded it smooth and grinded out some odds and ends little pockets. And I'm going to mix some epoxy and plug the holes from I grinded out these holes too, so they'll be clean. I'm going to plug these holes. I'm going to skim coat this. I'm going to plug these and a couple of other holes on the other side. And I'm continuing to try to develop a smooth sound surface back here in the back, so that when I start applying the new layers of fiberglass, it won't have air gaps and be all lumpy. It'll be smooth, continuous, and strong. That's my goal. This morning I determined I have sanded enough. We are putting glass on the transom, putting chopped and then woven in the corners and the bottom corner, and then we will come with a full sheet that'll overlap that, so that'll make 4 layers in the bottom corner and 4 layers in the side corners, and we also glass these verticals into place. In the corner of the transom and the bottom edge of the transom with 2 layers of glass. This morning I sanded the whiskers off, got it kind of flat, and today we're going to cover the entire inside face of the transom with a layer of chop mat and woven roving. This is one just to make it a little stiffer because it was awfully thin from the factory, and 2 to compensate for the damage we did when we were trying to get that plastic filler off. We kind of chipped it up a little bit, so this is going to bring it back to as new condition, or maybe just a little stronger. Alright, we are complete with applying 2 coats of glass to the bare transom. We applied a layer of chop mat and a layer of heavy woven roving. We folded it over the top, up top where there's a little bend which will add to the stiffness, and we folded it onto the floor quite a ways, and we folded it back into the corner. So now this corner has 4 new layers of glass, and the bottom corner has 4 new layers of glass. And after we put our 3 layers of plywood, we'll do this again. So the bottom corners will have 8 layers of glass, and these outside corners will have 8 layers of glass, and so will this top corner. So I think that's going to help add some strength to the transom to hold the big outboard motors.